talking about what you do is easy, but fine-tuning your messaging, defining your brand personality, and creating a consistent brand voice, well, that's a whole nother rice and bean enchilada, y'all. When you spend all your energy wordsmithing, your brand messaging, it becomes what we call a BD, a big distraction. And if you're stuck in analysis paralysis and you're not taking action, your sales are showing it in your bank account. The good news is that we are going to help you shorten the time between planning and growth. So Amy, let's dive in today.
Welcome to the Grow Your Business for Good show. This is a place where coaches and consultants gather so you can learn how to lead a world-class business that does not tax your time, your energy, or your financial resources. We are your hosts, M. Shannon Hernandez
and Amy Hager of the Joyful Business Revolution. And our number one goal is to bring you clarity and insight on how to grow your business for good.
All right. In this episode of our brand messaging series, we could have actually recorded like 7 or 8 episodes because we have a list of 197 no-nonsense brand objectives, but we're not going to do that to your pretty little ears. So go on over to our blog if you want to get that list of 197 no-nonsense brand objectives.
It's adjectives, y'all.
Oh my God, I did it again. Adjectives. Why do I see that word and think it's adjectives?
I don't know, but just keep going. We keep it real around here.
Adjectives. So 197 no-nonsense brand adjectives. But to keep today moving and making sure that I am using the right words, we are actually going to keep you out of distraction mode, and we're going to share 2 of our favorite exercises to help you quickly select adjectives and move on to income generating activities. But I would first want to ask Shannon, can you talk through why creating from like that distraction mode in your business can create no action and therefore no sales? Connect those dots for me.
Oh, well, distraction mode often looks like checking your email instead of doing the things that are generating revenue, right? I mean, it is an action, but it's a distraction. That's the point here, right? Here's the truth about the brand adjectives, all right? Yeah, there's 197 we came up with. A distraction would be you going to find all 197 and spending one day contemplating each one. And now half the year's gone, right, and you still have no sales and no good content, no brand voice, right? So there's a delicate walk here between how much time am I going to spend on this versus can I just get on with creating the marketing so that we can get going? All right. Because at the end of the day, your adjectives are to guide you, right? One of my adjectives is joy. I want everyone to feel joyful. It doesn't mean I spent 3 weeks thinking about joy. I just create from a place of joy. Okay. One of our adjectives is kind, as in kind messaging. So how is that coming through? I may write something that's like, kind of bitchy because I'm like on a soapbox. I walk away and I come back the next day and I hind it up, right? So this is really, really important. And I want to help you use the adjectives effectively to express your brand identity. So Amy, let's talk about a couple of exercises that people can kind of think through as they're walking or driving today and listening to us on the podcast.
And again, like the goal of these exercises is to really get you moving forward to the next step, like quickly, like with an hour or less, because we want you to actually begin testing your messaging. And so my favorite one is to put yourself in your client's shoes. So you're going to take off your, this is my brand hat, and you are going to put on the shoes. Let me get my foot up here. The shoes.
Nice flexibility.
Of someone who's really experiencing your brand for the first time. And so when we add in that little line of experiencing your brand for the first time, that's super duper key. What is kind of like that eye awakening experience that they have that you really want them to have? And I want you to take about 1 minute to really walk in these shoes and write down what someone would be experiencing in your brand the first time. And so run the adjectives, and you really want to create that list, and you can pull from it from your prospective buyer conversations. And so when you are in conversation with prospective buyers and you hear one of these words, you want to highlight that because it's a word that you're feeling that they're actually using. And that's going to help you continue to reduce this list. And so as you think of the words that you've heard in those sales conversations, reduce that less, maybe spend 5 minutes getting this smaller. And then the last step really is to create a short description of what you'd like them to experience using this shorter list. And then just jot down a few notes about general characteristics as well as like do's and don'ts. And so this whole little exercise should probably take you no more than 30 minutes, but it really is putting yourself in your client's shoes, using the words that they've said to you, and making sure you're tying those back to that first time experience that you want someone to be having with your brand.
Yeah. And
So
I think
Shannon,
I think that's really key, Amy, because if we're not listening to what people are saying to us, like there's a difference between being a good listener.
Yeah.
And I think we have really smart people that listen to this podcast and they're a great listener, right? But there's a difference between listening and then listening and going and reflecting on it and doing a little like follow-up work with yourself.
right.
So I love that exercise. Let me talk about another exercise that I think you all could try to kind of get closer to your brand adjectives and brand messaging. So this is called rapid brand adjective selection and definition. So first, you're going to consider your business and how you want to make people feel. Okay, this is about feeling. How do you want them to feel? All right. In this brand, we want people to feel accepted. We want people to feel safe. We want people to feel welcomed, whether it's their first time showing up somewhere or their 100th. We want people to feel empowered from our trainings to go take a next step. These are all feelings. All right. So think about how you want people to feel. Then you're going to run through the list of 197 words that we've got over on the blog, and you're going to choose the ones that best match your thoughts from above. That should take you no more than 10 minutes. All right. If you do the work first of defining the feeling before going and looking at a list of 197 things, it's going to be much easier and less overwhelming, especially those neurodivergent lovelies like myself. All right. Once you pick your best adjectives from the list, you're gonna walk away and come back and in 5 minutes say, can I streamline these or can I reduce the selection? Right? So let's say you pick 10, you don't really need 10, but maybe you want 7. You cross 3 out and you go with it. And then the final step is for each adjective that you've chosen, you're gonna jot down a few words. Even bullet points are fine about how each relates to your brand and your audience. Once again, no more than 30 minutes total. Okay. This is how you can get moving and either redefine a brand, refine a brand, okay, or enhance an existing brand and make it way more clear.
So then I think the big final note, if there is one, about using brand adjectives in our messaging is this is an important way for you to be successful with sales and successful in your operations. But you have to meet your clients where they're at, no matter what, and where they actually care.
And so we don't want you spending months upon months or even years like agonizing over this right adjective or wrong adjective to really tell your brand story. I think it's going to evolve a little bit too as you get into conversations with your ideal clients. And so we want you to make the process so that it brings you joy. We want to make sure that it actually contributes to your life and to your messaging, and that it's not this chore or this thing that you really have to do. And we really want you to focus on getting your content out into the world so you can test and rework the messaging and test and really start growing your business and getting in conversation with those ideal clients. And one value I would say of finding your brand objective and using them to make sure that you're talking about yourself consistently is it's an art form. It takes practice, y'all. It's not just going to automatically happen. And so you want to use that consistently everywhere that you're really, really sharing content, whether it's you introducing yourself at a chamber event, whether it's posting something on social media, whether it's getting on a stage and introducing yourself or going on a podcast, or even putting something together in your email. And I know people really get stuck when it comes to that creating and publishing that content. And that's why we are really here to work with coaches, consultants, and service-based business owners weekly to help them so that they don't get stuck. And I think that forward movement is so important and so key. And it's something we forget about a lot.
Absolutely. And once you really define this feeling, I really want you all to think more in terms of the feeling that you're trying to evoke. You can do some really cool things, which we're going to cover in the next episode, like brand storytelling around your adjectives. They can become your core values of your brand. You can use them, as Amy said, to introduce yourself. I want to share a story here. I went to a networking lunch in New York City. It was called Thoughtful Leaders Lunch, and I loved it. Now, I host mastermind dinners all around the States. And so it's so nice to be invited because I just get to show up and like be a participant and a facilitator. But I was called on first or second to introduce myself, and I used the word joy. And I did it very intentionally. And you know what happened? So many people came up to me after that lunch. It was a 2-hour lunch, and said, I sat here and really thought about what you said about kind messaging, ethical marketing, bringing joy back to the space. That's how I want my business to feel.
Yeah.
And it was so fun to have that reflected back. And to Amy's point, because I was listening, on the bus on the way home, I actually was like, okay, 3 people specifically said, I loved ethical marketing. 3 out of 11. That's a pretty high odds,
pretty good.
right? So I haven't even talked to Amy about this yet, but I really want to start introducing this idea of what is ethical marketing from our point of view. We can develop some stories around it. We can develop some content around it. But I think enough of the industry has come out on the other side of like the big shit shows that have happened in marketing and the unethical that they're now ready to hear it. And more than anything, I want you all to know, if you are a progressive business owner and a progressive thinker, your adjectives and how you want people to feel and how you're talking about your business and your brand, it's going to feel like you're in a silo all by yourself. And it's because you're trying to make a change, right?
Yeah.
We came out with joyful marketing. We switched it to joy-fueled marketing after 2 years. But for 5 years, people laughed in my face, y'all. I had coaches that wouldn't work with me. I had people that say to me, how are you trying to sell joy? It's marketing. Well, lo and behold, I saw about 12 posts on my feed on Facebook and LinkedIn last week about the power of joy in business and the power of joy in marketing. Even the coach who mocked me and said she wouldn't work with me, she was talking about it. Am I bitter about it? No, we created a movement here based on how we want people to feel. And so if you feel like you're kind of an oddball out there talking about your stuff, embrace it, because you are, and that's what makes you different, and it's what makes your brand stand out.
I love that. And so if you really want help in standing out in your messaging and especially in your email marketing, please come hang out with us and join us in the email messaging and marketing mentorship that we call the Content Personality Club. And because you are a listener to our podcast, we do want to make sure that you have an opportunity to join us at just a little bit of a discount. And if you use the code podcast500, all caps, you'll be able to get a $500 discount for the Content Personality Club.
I love that. We have so much fun there, everyone.
We do.
So in our next episode, oh, I don't know, I might blow your eardrums out. All right. We're going to be diving into authentic brand stories. Why are they important? What is story marketing? How do we know when you're trying too hard to be inauthentic? And how can we help people connect with your brand? So we will see you next time. Adios.
Bye.